Y'all know the drill. Wipe your feet off before you come in the door. Shake your clothes out. Don't want no roaches. Make sure y'all sitting on the plastic on my couch. Don't want to clear up no grease stains. All right. All right. It stopped raining again. I can let this window down. So it's been raining on and off. Loving this new weather, man. Well, not new weather, but this nicer weather. Ain't so much about a groundhog. It's all the solar activity, man. Uh, California and all that, normally sunny places getting the weather we should be getting. They can have it. We ain't tripping. But you know, eh, all the upheavals and stuff, they've been predicted time and time again. However, before I get into the topic, um, as far as the social upheavals, economic and the conflicts around the world, as far as these weather phenomenons and the sightings, this was taking place up to 2012. And just so happens, December 21st, 2012 was supposed to be like it for us according to the Mayan calendar. Some theories suggest that it should have ended, but something prevented it. I don't know much about that, but that was just a theory that's out there. Or that it did go away and we living in some alternate reality, but I'm not gonna get I don't not gonna get into all that. I it's hard for me to buy some of that. But what I do know is that everything that was going on as far as the weather and society, just people in general and systems, in upheaval, 24 is a multiple of 12. Here we are in 2024 and boom, here we are again. So, there is that. But, you know, I saw the new Matrix Resurrections, spoiler alerts and all that stuff because I'm going to talk about it. I watched it once and, it had been so long since one came out, I wasn't really into it, but I watched it again recently and it really jumped out. The concept, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, everybody, the first three, everybody referenced it. There's so much philosophy in there, man. You know what I mean? So, and hell, this has spawned a whole new school of thought. Well, this one goes even, it adds to that, you know what I'm saying? Actually completes it. And first thing I want to touch on is, they say, what is the Matrix? Now, if you think about that Matrix, it's an artificial reality, you know, but the real world is a bunch of people in these, holding little bubbles or whatever, floating in embryonic fluid, and being raised basically from infants to adults, and they're plugged in, fed a dream reality, and people start breaking out, things happen. Y'all know how it works. But, they have this artificial umbilical cord. Well, the word matrix was mentioned at least 5 times in the Bible. In the Old Testament, it means the womb. The matrix is the womb. You know, uh, it's used to refer to the firstborn animals or child or flock of the family. You know what I mean? For giving sacrifice, they wanted the firstborn. You know what I'm saying? The firstborn of the matrix, meaning the womb inside the mother. And what do you when you hooked up inside the mother? You floating in fluid with an umbilical cord, and you're experiencing the world through her. You know what I mean? And you're experiencing the outside world, but you're experiencing her experiences. Okay, and it's the same thing with this movie. They're in these capsules or whatever, and they're being fed a reality. All right. Now, I look at this new technology they have out now, where you could pretty much pick designer babies. I think I put a little, I made a short of it or somewhere, or put a video up of it, what I'm saying? You go through there and it's showing, yeah, just a room full of these little egg shaped things where they making babies. So it's like, it wasn't that far off, and what are they being shown? Another part was in, it was in, Exodus chapter 13, verse 12. It said, God told Moses to set apart all the firstborn animals of the Israelites to him. This includes the firstborn of the cattle, sheep, goats, and donkeys. Once again, a God that needs that much blood sacrifice to it, I got to question, just who they were worshiping. But all of these, the second instance, it was in Exodus chapter 13, verse 15, where he tells Moses that he'll strike down the firstborn of all the Egyptians, human and animal, born of the matrix. You know what I mean? Same thing in Numbers chapter 18, verse 15. The Levites will be responsible for redeeming the firstborn of the Israelites. And this means the Levites will pay a certain amount of money to the Israelites in order to substitute themselves for the firstborn animals of children. Then the fourth time was in Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 19, where he repeats the command that the Israelites should redeem their firstborn animals of children. And the fifth one was in Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 30, when he said the Levites were responsible for the care of the temple and its furnishing. This includes the care of the firstborn of children that are brought to the temple, those that are born of the matrix, the womb. All right. And you plugged in. So what is it? You know what I mean? You plugged in this matrix. And now we're told that, oh, this world is a holographic world. You know what I'm saying? So when they're unplugged in the movie, now they're in the real world, and they plug back into the matrix, aware that it's a fake world. So what does that mean for us as we're floating in this embryonic fluid and everything in our mothers, and we finally come out, we're unplugged, you know what I mean? And then we have that saying, we tell the mothers, cut the umbilical cord, cut the apron strings, cut the umbilical cord to let them go, let them be free. You know what I mean? Some choose not to let them be free. They want to hold on to the kid, make them, and not let them grow up. While the kid rebels and their spirit wants to branch out and make its own mistakes, live its own life, like the Truman Show, when he decided, hey, I want a real life. Or like in Vanilla Sky, when Tom Cruise was like, I want a real life, you know what I mean? Breaking out of that. So if this is a holographic world and the womb is the matrix, we were in the matrix, now we unplug from that when we're born, we come out into this real world, which isn't a real world, you know what I mean? I have to, I question that part, but the thing about the, the concept of this particular movie, it was a new Matrix. Anybody know how the third one ended? All right. Neo made the deal. They had the little cross symbolism, like he was the chosen one. He was Jesus, basically. He was in the cross shape when he died. All right, at the end, it stopped the war, and it didn't stop until he accepted the inevitability of his death, his sacrifice, like Jesus or whatever. And then, that's when he was, destroyed Mr. Smith. Everything went back. And the architect and the oracle, they had their little talk. They had their agreement. Okay, we'll let those free who want to be free, and then the ones who want to stay, they can stay. All right, cool. And then there was a little girl, who was at the end, who made the rainbow and everything. Well, she's an adult in this new movie, and she still plays an important part. But now this matrix has been redone. All right. The machines remember what happened. The matrix is redone, and Neo isn't the same kind of Neo. He looks different to other people. Of course, they show him as, Keanu Reeves, but he looks like some video game developer, and the Matrix was just a video game, and he had a psychotic break which made him create this reality. It was all redone, and he had handlers. The Mr. Smith was different. Everybody was different. Of course, Morpheus was different. And the whole point was they was able to do this new Matrix, and Trinity was in there, but she had a different memory as well. But it was something like, like, have we met before? That was in the trailer and everything. Basically you have, this masculine and feminine. If they were together, when they were trying to form the Matrix, when they got together, something happened. When they touched, it just destroyed it messed the machines up. So in order to maintain the Matrix as is, where they had the power, they had to keep the male and the female, Neo and Trinity, the masculine and feminine, close enough, but not able to connect. in order to harness the power that they brought to the Matrix, because they were both anomalies, you know. Because she died in the third one. They rebuilt them. They literally rebuilt them from scratch, okay? Because they needed them for this Matrix, okay? These two anomalies. But that was the first thing that hit me. Oh, you got to keep the men and women separate. Close enough, but separate. What does that sound like in our society? They place us at odds. Oh, everything's battle of the sexes. Like that one song, anything you can do, I can do better. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. And that's it. People want to do stuff just because I want to do it, just because I'm a woman and I should be able to do it. It's like, or a man want to do something that women do. Hey, I want to play in women's sports. Just putting us at odds, knowing that if we were truly to unify, it would be powerful. So what's the best way to do that is to create these, oh, everything's unequal and blah, 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 and have us at each other's throats. Now, I'm not going to describe the whole doggone movie. You got to watch it, but also in there, Neil Patrick Harris, his character, he was like a handler or whatever, end up being a bad guy. And he wanted to, he was the one controlling Neo and all this, what I'm saying? He wasn't the main machine, he was the man next to it, he was the middleman. And he was the one that did this little experiment, with Trinity and Neo. And so he controlled a lot more, even Neo. And like I said, Neo, he couldn't just take off and fly like he used to. He had some powers, but it wasn't like, God level like it was before. And eventually they was able to get a conscience that was similar to Trinity's back into her. But he said also some people want to be controlled. Some people don't want to be out of the Matrix. They like it, and they will defend to the death, and they were able to be taken over, called this swarm tactic, where everybody gets taken over and start attacking at once. And that reminds me of how some people are, in the recent video I did about leaving the world behind. Some people just can't, like Lot's wife, they can't. They'll turn around and get turned into that pillar of salt. And they will defend to the death to keep this, no matter how miserable it makes them and everything. And another line he said in there, he said, the more we torture you and keep you in fear, the better people act, the more they cling to it, so it's like the abuse. And that was another nugget right there. Look how our society is regulated, how it's just constantly just battered down with the most negative crap, just always something, anything to keep us down, because right above that, they feed off that, because people they put so much energy into trying to just make it, and the machines feed off it. They put so much more output, because the whole point of the Matrix was to turn a human into a battery. Sound familiar? Just like now. And now they talk about these interdimensional beings right outside our third dimension, fourth dimension, what do you want to call them? Reptilians or archons, whatever you want to call them. They feed off the negative energy. What do you see around here? Nothing but negative energy. And the more they get it, and they just love it. So why wouldn't they try to create a prison planet like this? And obviously you see the concept of the Matrix. It's about consciousness. Free your mind. Let go of the fear. Let go of the lower vibrations and embrace the higher ones. With all the increased sun activity, those vibrations are coming in, I'm sure some of y'all have probably heard this before, but it's all coming back in now. And it also reminded me of something I heard, where it's saying like these monotheistic religions, they're like prison religions, in order to trap the soul to reincarnate, to just keep living this over and over again. Isn't that how the Matrix was? They just plug people back in, just keep bringing people back over and over and over to keep living the same life until you transcend that. So, it's like, no, nobody ever truly dies. Do I believe in reincarnation? Yes. And that's what it seems like. When you see, oh, you're an old soul, that's a true statement. People are old souls. So souls come back and they come back, and they, to whether it be to finish some kind of mission or to learn some lessons, or, and then if that hasn't been learned, come back to learn again, whatever. And we can recognize that. We ain't got to die to recognize that. You just pay attention to the patterns in your own lives. You know, you find yourself in the same situations. It's like, damn it, what am I doing wrong? The same thing keep happening. I keep end up dating the same kind of person in the same situations around these same kind of people that make me feel this way. What am I not doing? What do I need to do different? Let me go back to when I made these mistakes before and say, I wish I would have done. I wish I would have spoke up more. I wish I would have left when I had the chance, or I wish I would have did what, I wish I wouldn't have spent that money here. I wish I would have did, you know what I'm saying? Like when you find yourself in these similar patterns, you know, relationships are easy, because it's like, oh, why you keep in with the same kind of person, it's like break the cycle. And that's what this is what I pulled from that. And I'm looking at my notes right here. So back to the this whole, oh, everything reinforces the illusion. you know the more negative and things, this is, we've accepted this is just, oh, that's just how it is. Yeah, that's how it is here. That ain't how it's got to be. Now we can't, you know you go somewhere, it's going to be trouble. You can't be sitting there talking about, oh, I'm going to have positive vibrations to keep stuff. No, people are going to, it's up to every individual to free themselves. And just like he said, Neil Patrick Harris said his character said in The Matrix, hey, look, some people don't want to be free. So, it's good to want to try to wake people up, but some people just don't want it. They have to come to it. If you bring it to them and they ain't ready, they're going to reject it. Just like in one of the other Matrix, one of the earlier ones, when the architect said, it was the second one, and then when he went to the room and everything with the architect, and he was like, we've done this before. We actually created one that was a perfect world, but it didn't, humans couldn't accept it, because it was too perfect. It was too good, the whole petri dish just got smashed because humans actually accepted something that's similar to the world we're living in now, that's full of conflict and all that. However, it's sometimes the lowest of things, like 9/11 and things like that, that bring the best out in people as well. Why does it take tragedy to bring out the best of people? Why can't we just do that? Why must we be prompted by something negative in order to, uh, why do people you gotta see somebody getting killed on video before somebody start realizing, oh, life is precious? You know what I mean? We should know that already. And we should live our lives that way already. But we don't. And then it continues to happen because people constantly need that reminder. Can't have the bitter without the sweet. You won't know what happiness is without the suffering, the yin and the yang and all that. So there is balance. Um, but also, how some people wanted to go back into the Matrix. I go back to the first one, the character Cypher. He started working with the agents, because he wanted to go back in. And they say once you're out, you can't go back in. Obviously they know how to do things. And in the Matrix Resurrections, you realize that everything was undone that Neo did. Morpheus, he was placed in charge of the Zion, and he died along with others when there was a war between the machines, because the machines began to fight, because after so many people had been freed, they began to fight over resources. Okay. And Jada Pinkett's character, she was an old woman now, and she was in charge of Zion. He has so much faith in Neo. So I'm looking at these parallels. Oh, they put so much faith in this Jesus-like character of Neo in this movie. He sacrificed himself, but yet still everything still went to crap because there was so many more layers. Just like there's so many more layers beyond what our religions, these corrupted religions have told us, and people are starting to see that there's so much more to it, so much more to us that was purposely kept from us. And they, and they lost their lives just waiting on Neo, thinking that what he did can't be undone. No. Just like now. Everybody's just sitting back. Oh, Jesus is gonna, it's like, no, we got a big part to play in that. and we ain't playing it because we've been taught to just be docile and sit and just wait. We got help coming though. And also another thing about plugging back into that matrix. The matrix, according to the Bible, is the womb. It tripped me out when I saw that. I'm like, wow, right there in the Old Testament, the first couple of books, you see the matrix. You know, the matrix is the womb, the matrix of life, everything in there, everything you experience. Is that why we're crying when we come out? Is, oh my God, into this harsh reality. What are you doing? Here we are, unplugged, but at the same time plugged in. But, and I'm not trying to be funny about this, but what happens when people get plugged back into that matrix? They want that blue pill and hey, plug you back in. The matrix is the womb, the illusion. You want to go back to the illusion? You want to get plugged back into the matrix, even though it's not real? What do we do when we consummate, with our mates? You going back into that womb, ain't you? You plugging back into that matrix, and it feels great because it's familiar. That's what people want. It's familiar. Reminds you of, just that warmth and that comfort and the pleasure and the feelings and what happens to the body and that illusion until it's over. And then you unplug from them again. And then it's just like, oh, well, damn. And that's how sometimes people can be deceived and to believe in certain things when fellas, we plug back into that matrix, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. When ladies, when your matrix is being plugged, we kind of reset ourselves. When you're done, oh, everything's going to be all right. For that moment, everything is all right, but you got to come back into the real world, How much times we distract ourselves with that temporarily being plugged back into that matrix. Sometimes we leave a little something behind to be plugged into a matrix to be born again. But now, when all right, let me get towards the end now. You get towards the end of this movie, and they start to learn that, no, we need to keep Neo and Trinity apart. They want to make deals and everything. Just stay away from, even Agent Smith. He like, I don't, I want this dude's noose from around my neck. I want to be free. Hell, everybody they want to be free. And they trying their damnedest to keep them from touching each other. And finally they touch each other, and it creates this like, plasma like explosion. And they, it's a big action scene, blah, 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 shooting. At the end, she's like, oh, this is how my dream ends, jumping off this building. And so they both run and jump off the building. And you think, okay, Neo start flying, do your Superman thing. He can't. Then they stop in midair. Now it's Trinity who's flying. It's Trinity who's, so now you see that, this world that, oh, well, you couldn't do it when it was just all masculine with Neo. Can't do it when it's all feminine. It wasn't until you had a synthesis of the masculine and feminine when they finally realized what they needed. It wasn't about being separate. It was about coming together. And now you hear it all over, from metaphysical teachers and everybody, about divine masculine, divine feminine coming together, that unity, everything about us. And just like they were kept, they was like, they have to be kept close, but they can't be allowed to connect because that would destroy their system. They have to, in order to fuel their system, need to keep us in proximity, but separate. And that's how they got us now. Men and women at each other's throats, always at odds, always looking to compete instead of working in harmony. We both have roles, and nobody wants to play those roles because those roles have been seen as less than. It diminishes you. To be nurturing and things for women. For men, and masculinity is called toxic, but it's not toxic when a woman acts more masculine. You know what I'm saying? Now it's liberation. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting with, they flipped it all around. We see it how the way they sell sex, look but don't touch, touch but don't taste, taste but don't swallow, like dude said in Devil's Advocate, you know. We can sell sex. We can, appeal to your basest desires and all our advertisements and everything to get you to do things. We can, our Jared commercials and all these things, making it seem like if you love her, you'll get this, and vice versa. Oh well, if the women love it, that's what the men gonna buy because they want to attract the women. Yes, keep us in close proximity, but never able to truly connect. We're too caught up in all these base things instead of really exploring each other, understanding each other, understand how if we're together, and you see how it is when you see these couples, especially these older couples that have been together for years and been through it all. It's such a beautiful thing. When you're around them, you just feel like a little grandchild sitting on the carpet listening to their stories. You feel the love from them. It's powerful, and those who want to seek harm, they don't want that. That's why they just want you focusing on, ooh, the body, the face, la 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 la. And that's it. And you feel empty afterwards. That's why nobody's ever satisfied. But finally, yes, Trinity, she snaps her fingers and boom. She kicks the dude jaw loose. She snaps her fingers, goes back to normal. Together they on they God level now. More so than when it was just Neo. And let's not forget, it was her kiss that brought him back to life in the first one. That was already in the nugget right there, indicating like, yo, that power of love, so much higher, But it can't be, there's self-love, you love yourself, but love of someone else, love of others as well. That's what a true power is, the highest of vibrations. That's what destroys this system, man, and wakes us up. But we can't be reinforcing the illusion by constantly being at each other's throats all the time. How long I've been going on this? All right, just 27 minutes. Ain't 30 minutes yet. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And those that want to stay, hey, they stay where they at. But for those of you who feel in your inner heart of hearts, you know that something is changing in you. You seeing things different. Don't ignore that. Your intuition, that is your DNA activating. That is, those high vibrations from the solar activity, everything. That's what it is. Some may become more intuitive, feel more, psychic-ish. You know what I mean? You start dreaming different. I mean, hell, it said that in the Bible. Young men would dream dreams, old men would prophesy. Or it might be backwards, it might go in reverse, but one of those type of things. People just start experiencing things. But we got to unplug. We can't exchange one matrix for the other. And that right there showed me that ending. Some people, a person who's still thinking separate would be like, see, it took the woman to take over. Now the woman it's like, no. Neither one of them could accomplish that without each other. They needed each other. They needed to, people completely miss that part and just look at, oh, Trinity got the power now. And it's like, no, it ain't about that. No, it's about them together and their need to keep them separate for a reason. Again, I love to reference these movies because they communicate so much. And when you finally see it, you'd be like, the big aha, eureka moment hits, man. So I just wanted to share that a little bit, man. And if y'all haven't seen it, please watch it. And if you want to, binge all of them, binge all 4 of them, you know what I'm saying? And even the animated series, you know what I'm saying? The in between, because it all fits, man. And it's, that just like they say, when you read the Bible or something, or you read any book, you find something new every time. You find something new every time you watch those movies. And don't watch it at the surface level no more. We can't, certain movies just, it ain't about this. Hell, even the big shoot 'em up, bang, bang, Michael Bay, the Transformers movie, there's messages in that, man. It's all there. We got to decipher it. I've always liked certain movies. Certain movies just resonated with me. Why? I didn't know, but now I know why. Certain ones that I've seen before, I always talk about They Live. because it's so much more that I understand now that I'm older. When I was a shorty watching it, it was just like, oh, okay, all right, I get a little bit, but wow, it's really, it really hits, it hit different, it hits home, you know. And then another thing, uh, uh, um, you see how we do these, and this is going into the sightings and things, You can't deny this stuff no more. The government can't deny it. Who remembers American Horror Story? All right, I forgot what season it was, but it was one actor. He was playing Dwight Eisenhower, and he got visited by the aliens or whatnot. And they was basically saying, we're gonna do what we want to do. We're gonna abduct who we want. We're trying to work with you, give you some technology and all that. And he had this box, and it had an iPhone in it. Now, mind you, it's in black. They had it in black and white, so it's like the 1950s. And he had, this Android. He had an iPhone, and he was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "It's a device that'll bring about peace and harmony." And he had this look like, "Yeah, right," kind of smiling. Obviously, we know what the cell phones and social media and what it's done and all that, and how it's affected society. So it was funny they had that in there like that. But that meeting he had, letting them know like, yo, you really have no power. We can do what we want, or we can go to another nation and make them powerful. So he played along, and that kind of plays into what we do with the alien technology, the crash ships. We know it's real. We know it's not. The official story wasn't true. Some of us knew that already. Everybody else just catching up. Those who just deny it, they just afraid to accept, the reality that we are not alone in this universe. And those other beings out there are showing that they here, and they showing that they've been here. I mentioned this in the last one of my last lives. Like, hey, these sightings and stuff is because with the new vibrations coming in, with all the new solar activity, the veils are being thinned, and so how they were able to move in secret and stuff. Sometimes things happen and anomalies happen, and they get seen by regular people, whether it be in a mall, on the street, in the sky. It don't matter. People are starting to see it now, and it's like, oh, whoa, what was that? You hear regular old hood dudes, farmers, rednecks out in the field, everybody, hey, man, they can't fake that. Hey, what was that in the sky? What is this, two suns? What is this? What is that thing behind the sun? What is that thing on the moon right there? Ain't no more hiding it. They could have been done that, you know? Sometimes they want to be seen. Sometimes they didn't think they could be seen. But, hey, it's happening. Sometimes they just traveling and it's like, oh, crap, they see me. But just like we have our conflicts, they have their conflicts. And larger nations like us, Russia now, but China, we use proxy wars, just like Ukraine. We're fighting Russia through Ukraine, just like Russia and China and them, they fought us through Vietnam. And then we did the same thing with the Mujahideen against the Russians in Afghanistan. Our goal was to make Afghanistan their Vietnam, to pay them back for what they did to us in Vietnam. You know, uh, the different Middle Eastern countries we support against other Middle Eastern countries. You know how it works. It's called proxy wars. All through Africa and all that, when there was an ideological war with the Soviet Union. We didn't fight each other directly. We fought each other by arming and training different countries to go against each other. What makes you think that these different races of aliens or intergalactic federations or whatever, what makes you think they're not fighting proxy wars through us, choosing different nations? Some races chose this nation, then one race chose another nation to share these things with, to give them an advantage, and they're fighting proxy wars through us. You see what I mean? And what happens when they decide, okay, we're going to pull our support from this nation and start supporting this nation? And you start seeing that nation go down. But I think it's a different kind of game, though. It's a different kind of game. It's like, all right, y'all served y'all purpose. It's time for us to come on down and finish the job, and do what we do, And like I said, some already here, and some are helpful, but the majority are not. As you can see, the state of the world. The ones that are appearing are the ones that's coming to help. And we're being tricked into thinking they're the evil ones. Nah, those are the ones that's coming to help. Because they see, okay, it's time. You know, they move in a totally different time than we do. And this might sound crazy to a lot of people, but a lot of this stuff you can't fake no more. You know, hell, the government not even trying to make up stories like they used to. You know, they declassifying the stuff. They saying it. Yo, yeah, it's real. We can't explain this. They know. The ones in the know, they know. Some they may be, ignorant of it. They keep them out of that. But the ones that get all the access, they know. Presidents, all the world leaders, they know. And they sweating bullets. Like I said in the previous live, hey, man, they trying to hide. They trying to hide on the ground. They trying to prep and all this stuff. That and look at, these, your Bill Gates types, they buying up farmland. They buying up meat processing plants. Then they catching fire. You got chickens that weren't laying eggs until the farmers start changing the feed and stuff. Creating food shortages, creating water pollution, creating air pollution, all these different things to destroy this planet, to destroy us, because they know that us being awakened and unified is their doom. Which is just like, I have to go back to it, they live. That's what protected them, the fact that we couldn't see who they are. They were just as vulnerable as anybody to bullets and attack and everything else. The only way, their biggest defense was not being seen. Devil's greatest trick is convincing the world it didn't exist. We love to say that, Well, more and more people are realizing, hey, you exist. Now you're in trouble. You see what I'm saying? And so the ones that been serving them, they're trying to run for the hills because they know, hey, something's coming. Y'all see this weather? Ain't nothing to be sugar-coated no more. And it's up to every last one of us to prepare to live differently. And I said this before, I'm reiterating it. We have, it's something, we have to live, the way of living comfortable. Things are just going to change. Our currency is no longer as dominant as it used to be. Other countries are moving away. We've launched wars to keep other countries from creating their own currencies and stuff, but you can't stop. Just like Agent Smith said, it was inevitable. And it ain't pretty when a country starts to lose their empire. Just look at the UK before we took over. It wasn't the end of them, but it wasn't the same. We have to be prepared to accept that as well. And then, with the king being diagnosed with cancer, who's that put in line? Prince William. Some people probably start going, oh, he's going to be an Antichrist and all that. I don't know. I don't know. But I got a feeling a lot of things are going to change when he becomes king. And Philip, they probably gave him a shot or something, you know what I'm saying? They trying to hurry off that dude because who they really want in there is the young king. And he's going to have advisors, and there may be all kinds of changes being made, man. We just got to wait and see. But whatever it is, whatever we have now, expect the uptick. And you ain't got to be no psychic. That's just, common sense. That's just looking at the writing on the wall. And just like in the days of Noah, people eating, drinking, be merry, and partaking in all this stuff is like, hey, man, be paying attention. They pushing eating these insects and all this, and they got foods now, just like they do the Impossible burgers and stuff, and now they got patties and everything that's made with crickets and all this stuff. They want the meat for the elites. They want to tell you that, oh no, you can't eat as much, your carbon footprint, no, they're gonna be eating just fine. That's what the wealthy want, but they want us to eat crickets and stuff, like lowly little animals. That's how we are to them. We're cattle to them. So, You know, if you whether you forming a small community or a large one, we have to work together. You know, we have to trust each other and be prepared to defend each other, to consolidate resources, because money ain't gonna mean a damn thing in those kind of days. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a gradual thing. This ain't overnight. You know what I'm saying? As we move from the dominance of the petrodollar or whatnot, start moving to precious metals, cryptocurrencies and stuff. You see how they're killing off these billionaires, these crypto billionaires. Why are they doing that? You know, just like they kill off inventors of people driving these water powered cars and all these. They don't want this stuff, man. They fight tooth and nail to keep everything exactly how it is, to maintain the status quo. Just like I was talking about with the FBI and all this stuff, all these people, you know, oh, these RICOs and these cases and stuff. You see, they knew for years, all through the drill, you know, through the height of the drill, from whenever it started, with 2008 to whatever to now, you know, that means they were sitting up watching everybody kill each other, and until it spilled over into their rich neighborhoods, they weren't finna make a move. Now they got what they need. It's all kinds of stuff finna start getting solved, and people getting arrested for things that they thought they got away with. That's why they call it the long arm of the law. They don't care about your life. They don't care about protecting and serving. And I think there's somewhere where it says, you know, they're not really obligated to protect you in a sense. You know, they're the god dogs for the elite to make sure they keep us in line so they can continue doing what they're doing comfortably. They're just guard dogs. And that's just what it is. And just like when they arrest you and put you, hey, that's free slave labor. The prisons is private, most of them anyway, so it's making people rich, people investing in it. It's a prison planet, man. It's just what it is. Oh, and just, you know, just to lighten up a little bit. And you know, this is one of them words that, you know, need to not be, you know how they say, you know, words that should not be used anymore. We need to stop. The word allegedly has been overused too many damn times, bro. I am so sick of hearing the word allegedly. Oh, yeah, well, you know, we got this DNA evidence. Oh, there's 4K video of them showing this and this and that. And we got 3 witnesses that said this and that. Allegedly. Just because you say allegedly, it does not make you sound intelligent, and it does not make you sound like you're proficient in the law. You sound stupid. Oh, yeah, when such and such went and shot such and such this many times and this and that, allegedly. We see the footage. Ain't no more allegedly. There go your face right there. The damn camera that scanned your irises and identified you and pulled you up in the damn database. Ain't no such thing as allegedly. You did it. Allegedly? Well, no. Oh, you know, sit there and describe 17 damn crimes and this and that and then end it with allegedly. That does not save you. So please, people, stop using the word allegedly, because you're using it wrong half the damn time. Ain't no damn allegedly if you got all this damn evidence. That's all I just wanted to rant. That was just one of my little things I had to get off my chest. You know what I'm saying? Where we at now on this time? All right, 43 minutes, 32 seconds. All right, man. I think I'm done. I think I'm done, man. I just wanted to touch on that, you know, just those parallels with the Matrix and the union of the masculine and the feminine, men and women coming together, and the power, you know, how we're kept apart artificially, you know what I'm saying, with all these different things that's put in between us to make us compete against each other, because all that does is help them. You know, it helps our overlords, you know, the elitists. You know, and that's all they do is figure out better ways to keep us right where we are, enslaved and at each other's throats, fighting over the scraps. Also, last thing, you know, THFTP, you know, it's been talked about. We've seen he was killed on the west side, right there on Madison and Long. That's my area. You know, I lived on West End and Waller. I used to hang on Madison and Central. Long, you know, that's like right across Central. So you got you know, you got Central, then you got Pond, and I think Long is the next street, you know. when you start getting up in the L Town, Long and Lotus and stuff like that, I think. Then you hit Laramie. Uh, yeah, that, I think CSP was talking about like people, yeah, the West Side is known for getting money, and that's the hustling side, but the West Side been dangerous, especially the Garfield Park area and the Austin area. I grew up in the Austin area. It's always been violent as hell, man. It's just that there's no, big time rappers coming out. There's no O Block or nothing like that. Some static place to focus on, that make the headlines look good. It's just the West Side, where you see like, on the South Side, you see people walk through. A lot of these blocks be empty. On the West Side, no, you go on them side streets like Long and Pine and all that. People still on them blocks like it's the 90s. I love to see it. It's just more dangerous. It was still dangerous back then, but it's just more, it was dangerous back then, actually more violent because there wasn't no internet or nothing like that. A lot of stuff you just didn't hear about, you know, but it was always been like, like CSP said, like a murder capital type thing. So, I don't know what he was doing over there, you know what I'm saying? But hey, the West Side, it gets like that. It's crazy as hell, and hell, I remember, we had that little friendly rivalry with the West and South Side, and even the South Side would be like, man, y'all crazy as hell over y'all. Everybody be talking about the South Side. No, the West Side is nuts. You know what I'm saying? It is. It ain't sweet one bit. Yeah, the hustling and the money and all that's one thing, but man, them bullets do fly and they hit their target. You just don't hear about it because the West Side ain't got no Vons and Ducks and stuff like that. They really hit the drill scene hard. So it's not so easy to just wrap up in the boat for the media to talk about, but it's there. So rest in peace to TP. And I have a short that I put up about Def's design, and I compared this to Final Destination. How that concept of that movie, the Grim Reaper, he had a design. The dude had the premonition. He messed it up, and Def circled back around to get everybody. And I said in that short, some months back, that's kind of what it seemed like. Like, you got your kiddos, and I'm not wishing this on anybody. I'm not pouring no salt, so I'm not claiming that. But all these people who kind of missed it because they was locked up and stuff, or it just wasn't their time yet. I don't want to see this happening, where it's just like death is circling back around. All those people who played with the dead, it's like the Grim Reaper ain't forgetting, just kind of circling back around and finishing the design, you know what I'm saying? So, these people, I don't, J-Mane and Tate Savage and Kiddo and all these other people getting out, Nate, I don't want to see them die. I don't want to hear about it, you know? And I had just talked about this in my previous live, but just last night or the night before, one of these more recent ones I just put up, and I was just saying, how, that three-way with Drill O and Truth Teller and somebody else when they was talking, and he was asked, what's gonna be the next wave of drill, and Truth Teller said the bloggers, and I was like, yeah, he right, because they're the ones that tell the stories now, and they don't have anybody to interview except for the other people that was from these same blocks. They wasn't the rappers or none. They was the ones that was still doing what they do in the street, so they ain't on the internet. And they coming out and they interviewing and they into with people. I don't want to see the death circle back around and claim the ones who didn't get, who survived the drill. You know what I'm saying? The initial drill period, they survived that, and then only to get taken out now. Like they say, ain't there's no time limit on get back and all this stuff. I wish people can just let bygones be bygones. That's a hard thing to say. I'm not them. I don't feel what they feel. I didn't experience I didn't lose what they lose. But man, it's got to stop somewhere, man. But hey, people gonna live that life, man. And stay plugged into that matrix. And I just feel bad for it. So, rest in peace to TP. You know, we can always hope, but hope is our greatest strength and our greatest weaknesses at the same time. But that's about it, man. Like and share if you so choose. And that is all I have to get off my chest.